is Wednesday, September 26th, as we're going to get into the end of our necklace story. Book report is due 1 week from today. You have a story that you're going to have to read for the quiz on Friday, which I'll give you the paper copy of tomorrow. It's up on my website. You have a bell work called the ML Story Fail. In theory, the only fail that should happen is in the title, not the failing of having a phone in your hand while I beat your wrist with a stick. It's a whole different kind of failing. This is what you're going to be doing for the bell work. We have 2 sentences where it says, tonight I will read my story and pass my quiz. Second sentence, I am lazy, but I do not want to fail. For each one, you're going to go through and tell me, is that word a noun, verb, adjective, so on. So you have to label each one of those different things. If you're watching this at home, what you're going to want to do here in a moment is probably turn the volume down, because if not, then some of the kids mess up, because there's every chance that someone in here might not be perfect. You might have issues. And you don't want to be surprised. Turn it down until it goes to the next screen, and then you can turn it back up. But also at home, you're going to make sure that you pause it so you can do this and not just be a cheater. It's not going to make you any smarter. The things up here tell you how many of those are in each sentence. So in the first sentence, 2 nouns, 1 pronoun, 3 verbs, 2 adjectives, so on and so forth. Excuse me. And then if I have someone who wants to volunteer for the first one, who has the words written down, we can take a volunteer. If not, then we'll do it as a group. And when, feel brave.
Mr. Sir.
Miss Deer.
May I borrow a pencil?
Sure, there's a bucket of them right over there. When, we'll have you walk right over here. You can bring it, not in front of the camera, behind the camera. In that thing of pencils right there. See the pencils?
Are those the crusty ones?
Those are janky, but they're not chewed on.
Janky.
Janky just means I found them on the ground. They're missing erasers and stuff like that. Right. You have your notebook. All right. You are allowed 1 mistake, and you get to keep them in. If you make 2 mistakes, you have to finish the sentence, but you get no monkey treat. I wish you the best of luck. All right. So you have, tonight I will read my story and pass my quiz. So once again, those people in the audience, if you feel she is wrong, cover your ears. And that way we can then call on you. If you cover your ears and she's not wrong, I call on you and we get to yell at you and give you a hard time and stuff like that. All right.
Can I get a second, please?
Tonight I will read my story and pass my quiz. The first one, tonight, is...
Adverb.
He says adverb. Correct. Nice one. Because it tells you when something happens. Something happens. Name here. That's what makes it the adverb.
You're too funny. Pronoun.
Correct. Pronoun.
Yay.
And once again, those should be written on your sheet. I, me, he, she, we, he, it. Will.
Verb.
Verb. Correct again.
Oh, man. Wait, she gets it wrong.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
And read.
Verb.
Verb.
Don't.
See if I can taunt kids because it's fun. My.
Adjective.
I want confidence.
Adjective.
Adjective. Connor, you say no? Oh. Ryan, you say no?
Well, if nobody else is going to say no.
Say Aiden, why are you saying no?
Why?
Yeah, you're saying it's not an adjective? What are you saying it is?
Conjunction.
You're saying conjunction. Do you have information for it? That's not very confident at all.
About it.
Alright, so did you want to stay with yours? It's correct, that's an adjective. That's one a lot of kids have missed today. My, because it modifies a noun, so if it modifies a noun and tells you which one or what kind, that's what ends up making it an adjective. Good job, Win. Story?
Noun.
I just gave it away by calling it a noun, just seeing who was paying attention, but most kids are dumb, so it's okay.
Oh, I was a dumb kid.
They call me dumb.
Yeah, I was a dumb kid.
Dude, I'm gonna report this to the office.
Yeah.
I didn't call any of you dumb by name. You just called yourselves dumb. That's your own issue.
Oh, okay.
It's like me saying,
Mr. Rubby.
only idiots talk out loud, and you go, like me? And I'm like, well, I didn't say it, but yes, nicely done. And?
Conjunction.
Correct. Nicely done. It's the conjunction. Yeah, she is. Ball. Not ball. I was thinking like on a roll like a ball. Pass.
Oh, she's smart.
Interference.
We're all
Verb.
Verb.
That's not true at all.
Yeah.
Correct again.
Let's go.
Wait, I have a question.
I just randomly guessed.
Yeah.
Do we just write under it what it is? Okay, sir.
My.
Adjective.
Nicely done.
Alright,
Hopefully
just get
that
it
made it
wrong.
easy because I put the same word in there twice.
Wait,
Although
get it
I
wrong.
will tell you, coming up next week or the week after, I'm going to give you a sentence that uses the same word twice, but it's two different things. Like I'll give you the word can, and one time it's going to be a verb, like I can do it, and the next one is going to be a noun, like open a can of beans. But I didn't do it this time because I was afraid you guys were too dumb, and if I did that, it would just make your brains bleed. But someday I plan on you being less dumb, and we'll see how it goes. And your last one, quiz.
Noun.
Nicely done. Someone got themselves a monkey treat. Now I'm going to have you do at the top of your paper, write down Wynn's name, because she is now officially on our list of kids who have gone. So in the future, if she volunteers, we can go back and check to figure out which kids did which ones.
How do you spell your name?
W-E-N. Just like how many of you guys try to spell the word incorrectly. Kosnuski, volunteering for the second one?
No.
Have you written down your answers for it?
Yeah.
All right, as long as you've written them down. All right.
Yeah, the days we do this, I got this. Like hide it, like. Yes, Gavin.
All right.
Beat the crap out of it.
So now write Gavin's name at the top. And once again, those of you who are not volunteering, if you fix yours in your notebook, then that makes it easier when it comes time for the quiz and stuff like that. Or if you realize that you did all of this on the left-hand side of your notebook, because the left-hand side is homework, and I have to copy it all to the right-hand side, and that gives you time to fix it and put it on the correct side also.
Thanks.
He says, knowing the answer ahead of time. I am lazy, but I do not want to fail. All right, we'll start off with I.
Pronoun.
Correct.
Okay.
Am.
Adjective.
Oh, I thought you were raising. All right. Are you saying no? Oh. So I got excited there for a second. You said.
I just said that once. I knew you were gonna do that.
Me too. I was looking around to see, but not an adjective.
That's why you got excited.
What is it? Nicely done.
That was scary. I just had a heart attack.
Am is a verb.
Same thing.
It's almost the same. It's close. They're spelled the same.
You wouldn't have hit it.
I know. And lazy.
Adjective.
Adjective.
Penny.
Ryan. Not an adjective.
I don't
It is.
Cover your ears unless you're willing to spin the point.
It is. It is.
Oh, it's a point?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in my ear. It's not even loud.
No, it's not.
I
Lazy is an adjective. That's why a lot of kids spin their points to move from that seat. And then you have but.
Past in the second section.
Conjunction.
Correct. I.
Pronoun.
Correct again. Do.
Verb.
Correct. Not.
Adverb.
That's the one most kids miss. Not is always an adverb because it modifies a verb. Do not, cannot, will not. You were saying that you're doing the opposite of a verb, so you're modifying a verb, making it an adverb. That's the one most kids miss. Want.
Verb.
Correct. To. Now you only have two things left up there. One of these you've not used at all yet, and then from there,
Wait, never mind. I didn't say that.
no, that'd be ridiculous.
Preposition.
Preposition.
I wrote P on my paper, so.
That would make sense. Don't pee on your paper. It's messy.
I said I wrote.
Oh, embarrassing on my part.
Wait, so you wrote with P?
And fail. We're just talking about his points. It's okay.
Yeah. Verb.
Verb. Nicely done. Someone stepped away with a big old W on that one.
Let's go.
I'll leave that up there for a second, and then we'll make it disappear here. But the quiz on Friday, I'll have a question, actually two questions that are going to come from Magic Lens that are going to reference things from here, so hopefully that helps you out in some way. But if you've not written anything down, then there's probably no helping you either.
Can you use your notes?
You can use your notes. That's why I'm trying to help you now. All right. To finish out our story from yesterday, to help us from there, let's see. We had, who's our main character person?
Matilda.
Matilda. What kind of character is Matilda?
Spoiled.
Spoiled works for me.
Jealous.
She is jealous. What is she jealous of?
Rich people.
Works for me
Isn't
again.
everyone though?
Not
Jealous of all
necessarily.
the others.
Some people are jealous of other kids who don't lose points for turning and talking. That's a whole different kind of jealousy. So we're just trying to help it out. Other kids pick up on my hints quickly, so I don't have to yell at them. So that almost works the same way too. And then we introduce a second character. Who's our second character?
Husband.
Husband, who tries to make her happy. And how does he try to make her happy?
My hair
The invite to the big dance. And then, how does she react to his niceness? This is dumb. Because why is she upset?
Because she has nothing to wear and she doesn't have anything to wear.
So her husband is nice to her. And what does her husband do?
He gives her an idea of one of her friends to get.
What was he going to do with the money?
Buy a gun.
We'll find out later.
We're not there yet.
To buy the gun, but then she's still unhappy before she goes to the party, and she wants jewelry. So how does she get the jewelry?
She goes to her friend and she gives her a.
There you go, and that's where the friend comes in, and she ends up talking to the friend, and the friend gives her a necklace and just says, "Hey, it's all good." And then we got to the friend and the jewelry. She goes to the party, and how does the party go to her? What's that? She does flirt with all the boys from there. She then flirts away all of her points, even though she's down to 9, to figure out what could happen as she would talk across the room while another teacher was going. And that's just a ridiculous way to try and lose points from there, but people make their choice.
Wait, that's me?
So many people it could be. What's up, other kid talking while I was?
She keeps eating hummus with my face.
Okay.
And
Are you allergic to hummus?
Do you have 50 points? Right, good stuff. Well, that's some conversation we can bond on it. Are you allergic to hummus? Come sit over here. She just done.
Go over there. You're not allergic to hummus.
No, because you
I've
can't
been
be.
eating.
No one's allergic to hummus. It's what's made from. All right.
I've been eating that for like 3 weeks. You never know. I'm breaking out.
Come on over until she's done. It's capped right now, so you should be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just thinking of your safety. Oh, let's see, back to here. She goes to the party. She dances. She does the flirty flirt. Things go well. Oh, they come home from the party. And that's about where we stopped. On backside, went to there, got to the part, or the top of the left column, where it finds out that she lost it, and then that's where she's freaking out. So we're on the backside, left-hand column, where she says, "Oh no, I left it," or "I lost it," and there's where she's freaking out.
It's so weird.
"What's the matter with you?" asked her husband, already half undressed. She turned towards him in utter distress. I've no longer got Mrs. Forcier's necklace." He startled with astonishment. "What? Impossible!" They searched in the folds of her dress, in the folds of the coat, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it. "Are you sure that you still had it on when you came away from the ball?" he asked. "Yes, I touched it in the hall of the ministry." "But if you'd lost it in the street, we would have heard it fall." "Yes, probably. We should have. Did you take the number of the cab?" "No." "You didn't notice it, did you?" "No." They stared at one another, dumbfounded. At last, Mr. Loisel put on his clothes again. "I'll go over all the ground we walked and see if I can't find it." And he went out. She remained in her evening clothes, lacking strength to get into bed, huddled on a chair without the ability or power of thought. Her husband returned about 7 in the morning. He had found nothing. He went to the police station, to the newspapers to offer a reward, to the cab companies, everywhere that a ray of hope sent him. She waited all day long, in the same state of bewilderment at this fearful catastrophe. Mr. Loisel came home at night, his face lined and pale. He had discovered nothing. "You must write to your friend," he said, "and tell her that you've broken the clasp of her necklace and you're getting it mended. That'll give us time to look about us." She wrote as he came up with the right words. Necklace gone, so no longer there whatsoever. And of course, did they go tell their friend what happened?
No.
Like every kid, what have they've learned to do?
Lie.
They have lied. Because as we learn, lying solves everything. And they said instead of returning it, they say, "We've broken the clasp." You guys know what the clasp part is?
It's a little hooky part at the back of the necklace.
So it's the little hooky part that goes on there. They say, "Hey, we've broken that part," and that's why it's gone on that part. 1 second. Got to charge the same kid points again for having the iPad out. As long as it's not on your phone, it's just like close it to the side decoration. Now, that's moving forward from there. Now they get to freak out and have issues from there. By the end of the week, they had lost all hope. Mr. Loisel, who had aged 5 years, declared, by the way, when it says that he'd aged 5 years, it's like when you stress your parents and your parents go, "You've made me age because of whatever issues you have." Same thing happened to him. In a single night, he's aged 5 years. Who had aged 5 years declared, "We must see about replacing the diamonds." The next day, they took the box which had held the necklace and went to the jeweler's whose name was inside. He consulted his books. "No, it was not I who sold the necklace, ma'am. I must have merely supplied the clasp." Then they went from jeweler to jeweler, searching for another necklace like the first, consulting their memories, both ill with remorse and anguish of mind. In a shop at the upscale mall, they found a string of diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they were looking for. It was worth $40,000. They were allowed to have it for $36,000. See, that's like 10% off. That's a deal. They begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days, and they arranged matters on the understanding that it would be taken back for $34,000 if the first one were found before the end of February. Ooh, my smart ones. What month is it right now in the story?
January.
How do we know it's taking place in January?
Because he said something about the end of February and.
But why isn't it taking place in December?
Because it's January.
I like your confidence and your eye, but that's not quite it. Noah?
Didn't they talk about how it was cold when they were going?
They did, but December's also cold.
Not really.
Isaiah?
Because it says don't sell it for 3 days.
That's part of it. Not bad glue. I was going to go for back when they had the party. They got the invitation and said it was like in January. On Monday, January the 18th. So obviously we just had January from there.
Where does it say that?
There's little clues in the
That's a
story,
school
but
day.
it is a school day. Good.
I see it right there.
Mr. Loisel possessed $18,000 that was left to him by his father. He intended to borrow the rest. He did borrow it, getting $1,000 from one man, $500 from another, $5 here, $3 there. He gave promissory notes, entered into horrible agreements, did business with loan sharks and the whole tribe of evil moneylenders. He mortgaged the whole remaining years of his existence, risked his signature without even knowing if he could honor it, and, appalled at the agonizing face of the future, at the black misery about to fall upon him, at the prospect of every possible physical attack and moral torture, he went to get the new necklace and put down upon the jeweler's counter $36,000. When Mrs. Loisel took back the necklace to Mrs. Forestier, her friend said to her in a chilly voice, "You ought to have brought it back sooner. I might have needed it." She did not, as her friend had feared, open the case. If she had noticed the substitution, what would she have thought? What would she have said? Would she not have taken her for a thief? Quick timeout. I forgot to mention this before. When she lost the necklace, who is it that goes to search for the necklace?
Her husband.
The husband. What does she do?
Sit and cry.
She sits there and cries, "Oh, pity me," and just lays there the whole time while he goes out there and does the searching. Now they have to buy a new necklace. And how much is the new necklace?
37,000.
36. They got a discount. 36,000. Who is it that goes and gets the money?
Husband.
What does
She's
she
a
do?
gold digger.
Sits there and cries.
Oh, mercy me. And so the whole time again, what is it, by the way, the very beginning of it when he was going to spend the money? What did he want to spend the money on?
A gun.
I'm not saying it would have been a better choice. Don't worry, it gets worse.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Loisel came to know the horrible life of being absolutely poor. From the very first, she played her part heroically. Finally, she does something. This fearful debt must be paid off. She would pay it. The servant was dismissed. They moved to a smaller apartment. They even rented a room in their small home for a local man to use. She came to know the heavy work of the house, the hateful duties of the kitchen. She washed the plates, wearing out her pink nails on the coarse pottery and the bottoms of pans. She washed the dirty linen, the shirts and dishcloths, hung them out to dry on a string. Every morning, she took the dustbin down into the street and carried up the water, stopping on each landing to get her breath. And, clad like a poor woman, she went to the fruit market, to the grocer, to the butcher, a basket on her arm, haggling, insulted, and fighting for every wretched penny of her money. Every month, bills had to be paid off. Others renewed, time gained. Her husband worked in the evenings at putting straight a merchant's accounts, and often at night he did copying at 50 cents a page. This life lasted 10 full years. At the end of 10 years, everything was paid off. Everything. The loan sharks charges, the accumulation of superimposed interest on the money borrowed. And Mrs. Loisel looked old now. She had become like all the other strong, hard, coarse women of poor households. Her hair was badly done. Her skirts were awry. Her hands were red. She spoke in a shrill voice, and the water slopped all over the floor when she scrubbed it. But sometimes, when her husband was at the office, she sat down by the window and thought of that evening long ago, of the ball at which she'd been so beautiful and so much admired. What would have happened if she'd never lost those jewels? Who knows? How strange life is, how fickle, how little is needed to ruin or to save. One Sunday, as she had gone for a walk along the riverbank to freshen herself after the labors of the week, she caught sight suddenly of a woman who was taking a child out for a walk. It was Mrs. Forestier, still young, still beautiful, still attractive. Who's Mrs. Forestier?
The rich lady.
Her rich friend. The rich friend who?
Lend her the jewels.
There you go. The one who's connected to the necklace. Mrs. Loisel was conscious of some emotion. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, she would tell her everything. Why not? She went up to her and said, "Good morning, Jean." The other did not recognize her and was surprised at being thus familiarly addressed by a poor woman. Ma'am, I don't know you. You must be making a mistake. No, I'm Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry. Oh, my poor Matilda, how you've changed. Yes, I've had some hard times since I saw you last, and many sorrows, and all because of you. Because of me? How is that? You remember the diamond necklace you lent me for the ball at the ministry? Yes. Well, I lost it. No, how could you? Why, you brought it back. I brought you another one just like it, and for the last 10 years, we've been paying for it. You realize it wasn't easy for us. We had no money. Well, it's paid for at last, and I'm glad indeed. Mrs. Forestier had halted. You say you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. Yes, and you hadn't noticed it. They were very much alike. And she smiled in proud and innocent happiness. Mrs. Forestier, deeply moved, took her two hands. Oh, my poor Matilda. Mine was fake. It was worth, at the very most, $500. And that's where the story ends. That's why I like the story. So many things we can learn from this particular story.
That's
Going back to Monday with irony, we have irony in the story. Actually, a couple different examples of irony in the story. Can you pick up on any of our examples of irony from the training we did? Gavin?
A rich person buying fake.
Would be one of them. So here we have, she was always jealous of the rich people, and she goes to borrow something from a rich person, and she's like, "Whoa, this is so fancy. I could never have something like this." And then it turns out to be a fake necklace. So that'd definitely be one of our examples of the things in there. Any other ones you found?
Thanks.
a poor person buying something that's like...
Not bad. I can see something along those lines too. Oh, and we'll jump to it real quick. Theme. What is it we should learn in the story?
Not to lie.
Why?
Because she ended up having to pay 36 when
Everything happens for a reason.
I mean, I've also, the same idea if things happen for a reason. Karma. Can you explain how would karma work as a theme for this story? Do you guys know what karma is?
Yeah.
You could think
How does karma fit in the story, Morgan?
Because when you're wealthy and really like that, and once when you're really jealous of things like that, you get karma because, oh my gosh, what? Okay. It's like, here, much noise around me is possible.
Gavin's issues just knocked the knowledge right out of your head.
Yeah. I mean, okay, if you're greedy and wealthy and a wrong person to other people, you're always jealous and you don't get the best things in life. Like she got.
I can see that.
She like had, yeah.
You started,
I don't get. I'm totally lost.
Aaron.
She takes all her stuff for granted, and then when she finally gets like something that she likes, then she loses it. And now she knows the value of like hard work, and she respects her stuff.
I like that.
It just took a long time for her to get there. But yeah, as you guys said earlier, she was not a good person at the start. And then you're like, oh, she gets tortured for 10 years and loses everything because she lied and was an idiot? Yeah, it couldn't happen to a better person.
That's what's happening to me right now. Yeah, she was annoying.
Sorry.
She was annoying. She had everybody do stuff for her.
She did. And then she was all upset she was. But we solved that problem because now she's learned what hard work is. And tears. Lots and...
Yay, she deserves it.
Susan? Oh, how silly of me.
Can't she just return it though?
And that's what the idea is here. I mean, now that the story is over, you would hope that Mrs. Forrest would be like, hey, how about I give you the necklace back? And then she could sell it and then get the money. But at the same time, even though you do get like $34,000 if you were to sell it back like that, you're still not going to get back 10 years of your life.
But you could like at least make yourself not look older.
That is true. I mean, that does... I'm not sure that's as good of a solution, but it's better than nothing. I mean, being at the end of the year, she's like, hey, you get money, so... The rest of it, we'll let you figure out on your own for the quiz.
And if she would have said 500.